Hello, my friends. It's time for the O Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, CW. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to hit the bell on YouTube and subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcasting app. Please leave a like, rate and review on Spotify or Apple or wherever, and let's get this podcast moving. You know, I appreciate it. Today we're talking about King of the Ring and all the possibilities therein. I was watching SmackDown and having a conversation with Dad's First Time, shout out Dad's First Time, about the U.S. title. And Logan Paul's match for WrestleMania is now a triple threat match between KO, Randy Orton, and Logan Paul for the U.S. title. And Dad's First Time made the comment that no one in that match needs the title. And I agreed, no one needs the title. But then I stopped and said, well, the title needs one of them, right? Because I don't know about you guys. I don't find the US title all that interesting. When Rey Mysterio won it for 17 minutes a couple months ago, I didn't care. When Logan Paul won it, I kind of cared, only because it was Logan Paul holding a WWE title. But they really teed it up, so I wasn't super surprised. But now that has kind of washed away, and Logan Paul just sort of has this title, and I don't care. I don't think I've ever cared about the U.S. title. Not because of anyone who's holding it necessarily, but there's nothing really special about it. Like, there's something special about the Intercontinental title, the history of it, how they frame it, how it looks, you know, the person who holds it. Everything about the IC title, you know, has a feel. The Universal Championship, the Unified Universal Championship, it's the big prize because they've built it that way with storylines and rivalries and drama. It's made that title more important, or those titles that have been combined into one. The world title they're trying to get it there with Seth Rollins. I think it's time to pass it to someone else and let a heel take it a little further, but it's trying to get there. But the US title doesn't have that. And they tried to do it with like the open challenge, and I don't think that necessarily worked. It just becomes, it really does feel a little bit more like the 24/7 title than it does the IC title. It's closer on that scale for me. And the reasoning is because there's no drama attached to getting it. People just kind of pass that title around. Austin Theory held that title for super long, and I don't think it made a blip on the radar of him having the title. And then he lost it and no one cared. They tried giving it to Bobby Lashley and Seth Rollins, and they tried to build it into this thing, and they just couldn't do it. Remember, at one point, the U.S. title was the only title on Raw. And Seth and Mustafa Ali and Austin Theory and Bobby Lashley, all these people were vying for it. And Bobby Lashley had it for a long time. I don't think anybody cared. Anyway, that is to say, I think more titles need some sort of gimmick attached to it that makes it difficult to both obtain and retain, right? It should be a difficult time getting it, and then it should be difficult holding it. So you get the title and then you don't get to rest. You have to do something difficult to keep it. That way you can build storylines around the drama of that and kind of how the person deals with that, and then give the title a bit of weight and make the person either a very scrappy underdog who keeps winning, or a really crappy heel who's cheating and retaining, and you just want them to lose because better people are playing by the rules and not getting it. You know, classic wrestling stuff. Which turned my attention to something like King of the Ring, which is in itself, I think, a very well structured event or tournament, whatever you want to call it, for WWE that they don't normally utilize. I think the last one was 2018? Something like that. And my issues with King of the Ring, I think I've spoken on a couple times on the show, but the only thing you get for your efforts in King of the Ring is a crown and a scepter and arrogance, right? They walk around and I'm the king of the ring or I'm the queen of the ring, and they get some sort of regal music and it's goofy. I don't like the crown. I don't like the scepter. I don't like any of that. I know it's professional wrestling, but it does look like they just came back from a birthday party where their own birthday party where they're pretending to be a king, or maybe they went to Burger King and got one of those, golden crowns with their chicken nuggets, and they're walking around pretending to be a king. That's why I don't like it. It just doesn't. Maybe it's because of my affinity for Burger King, but I don't like that thing. But there is so many possibilities for King of the Ring to kind of do what I was talking about with like the titles. If you were to turn King of the Ring into a yearly thing, and the prize was, maybe the prize is something like the Money in the Bank, not necessarily. It could just be a title, like the prestige of having the King of the Ring moniker, or you can make it a belt, right? But here's my idea that I was wrapping my mind around earlier. What if King of the Ring was, same tournament, but it was an escalation style tournament? So every round of the tournament, the matches get progressively more difficult. So you get like the first bracket, it's a very normal singles match. Then the second bracket, after you win, you have to do a hardcore match. And then the third one is a ladder match. And then the fourth one is, I don't know, someone give me another match, is the blank match that you just wrote in the comments. And then the last match is like a Hell in a Cell where the King of the Ring title is on top of the cell, and you have to not only throw your opponent through the cell, but you have to climb the cell and then unhook the belt and then still make it down, and then you win it. Something like that, right? Whatever. But the whole point is everything escalates into this tipping point where you've gone through this grueling series of matches, you win, and now you're crowned king or queen of the ring. You have your title or your trophy or whatever, and they have a ceremony when you win. Boom, this person is king or queen of the ring. They put your name down. You have the title. You do not defend that title. You just get to have storylines with it for the entire year. A year goes around, you're up for defending your king or queen of the ring title, but you don't get to skip the gauntlet. You have to participate in the gauntlet from the first set of matches again, now as the former champ, the defending champ. You relinquish the title before the tournament, not relinquish, but you hand it over as you are defending it, and you go back into that gauntlet. And if you do a two-peat, like the same way they have the Royal Rumble, where if you like Cody did 2 years in a row, it becomes a big deal. If you're able to do this gauntlet again and become king or queen of the ring for a second time, consecutive times, you go over like that, it makes a difference. It makes it stronger. It makes the tournament more important, and it gives the wrestler who's defending or winning a huge bump, because the crowd will get behind them or hate them for making it through the gauntlet. And then they get to be either a crappy king of the ring or queen of the ring for another year, or they have a storyline where they get screwed over, or they just go and do something. I don't know. But giving something like King of the Ring that sort of weight would do nothing but put over every wrestler who participates in such a thing. And maybe the U.S. title can benefit from some kind of booking like that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments of my King of the Ring /U.S. title booking. Thank you so much for listening. And don't you ever forget.
I'm your friend, but if I ever see you in the ring, I can beat you. Don't you know? Yeah, yeah, yeah.